What's up, guys? Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today I'm going to be looking at algebraic expressions, and in particular I'll be focusing on factorization. Okay, so what is factorization? If we look at the expression a multiplied by b plus c, right? If we distribute this expression, right, me saying a times b and a times c, I'll get a product of ab plus ac, right? But if I reverse this reverse process will be called factorization. So if I go back there, I'll be factorizing, okay? So in actual fact, if you take a highest common factor of a being the common factor, right? Because remember, a is the common factor. A is common in the first term and in the second term, right? So what we can do is we can take out a highest common factor of a. What am I left with? Okay, so I'm taking out the a. I'm taking a out of the expression, and now what am I left with? Okay, I'm left with two numbers. I'm left with b and I'm left with c. And as you could see, I'm now right back to the original expression again. So that's what factorization is. Okay, so let's get into some examples so this can make more sense for you guys. Okay, so I'm going to erase this for you and we're going to get into some examples. Okay, so let's consider the expression 6x cubed y plus 9x squared y squared. Okay, step number one, right? If I do my first step, what do I have to do in my first step? I have to take out the highest common factor of my constants, which is my coefficients, right? Which is my coefficients, which is these two numbers, 6 and 9. Okay, so if we look at 6 and we look at 9, what is the highest common factor? Okay, the number that can go into 6 and into 9. Okay, we know 6 can't go into 9. Alright, so the highest common factor in this case would be, so let's jot it down here, the HCF, when we are only referring to the coefficient, would be 3, right? So 3 would be my highest common factor. So what am I left with? If I take a 3 out of the first term, right? If I take a 3 out of the first term here, what am I left with? I'm left with a 2x cubed y. Alright? And if I take a 3 out of the second term, which I already did, I'm left with a 3x squared y squared. Okay? So now it is factorized, but it's only factorized in terms of my coefficient, right? So now let's look at the variables. Okay, so let's take another step here. Let's say step 2, I'm now gonna factorize my variables, right? So when looking at my variables, I need to look at the lowest exponent of each variable. Okay, so if I look at this, if I look at x, my lowest exponent will be 2, right? If I look at y, my lowest exponent will be this 1 here, this invisible 1. Okay, so in actual fact, I can say my HCF when it comes to my variables is x squared y, right? So I can say my HCF is x squared y. So in actual fact, if I were to take out the x squared y alongside the 3, I'll be left with 2x, right? Plus 3y. You guys with me? I'll be left with a 2x plus 3y. And now what we have here is a fully factorized expression, okay? Because if I were now to multiply this in, okay, if I were to say 3x squared y multiplied by 2x, I will be getting my 6x cubed y. Why? Because remember there's a 1 here, okay? And what does the rule say? Okay, let's just go back to the rule. If you guys don't remember, the rule says if my bases are the same and I'm multiplying two of the same bases, what do? I add my exponents, right? If my bases are the same, I add my exponents, okay? So if we multiply x squared and x to the 1, okay? That's how you're gonna go back to x to the 3, right? That's how you're gonna go back to x to the 3. And if you multiply y by nothing, okay, remember there's no y there, we just left with the y, okay? And like I already said, the 3 times the 2 gave you the 6, okay? So there's a bit of exponential laws you guys have to remember when it comes to this, okay? And what we can now do is we can also say 3x squared y multiplied by 3y will give me the 9x squared, right? X squared y squared, okay? Because the 1 and 1, okay? Same law. Y to the power of 1 multiplied by y to the power of 1 will give me y to the power of 2, okay? You guys follow? Okay? I think we're all happy there, eh? Let's look at some more, okay? So if I can, let's give you another one, okay? So let's say I'm sitting with 2x minus 4y plus 6, okay? Again, let's look at the coefficient, right? Remember the coefficient is the numbers, okay, the constants, okay? 6 is a constant, the 4 is a coefficient, is a constant, and the 2, right? Okay, so when looking at the coefficient, what would be our highest common factor? Okay, the biggest number that can go into 2, 4, and 6, okay, and that number would be 2, right? Because 2 can go into itself once, right? It can go into 4 twice and into 6 3 times. Notice that there is no like terms in this expression. X is not the same as y, okay? And 6 has no variable, okay? So in this case, we cannot take out a variable. There's no like terms, right? So we're just going to take out the 2. That's our highest common factor. What are you left with? X minus y plus 3. Okay? X minus y plus 3. And now your expression is fully factorized. Okay? And we can do the test again. We can say 2 times x will give me 2x. 2 times minus y will give me minus 4. Apologies, I'm actually missing a 2 here. I'm missing a 2. So 2 times minus 2y will give me a 4y. You guys are probably sitting at home screaming, sir, there is a 2 that we're missing. Okay, and then your 2 times 3 will give you your 6. Okay guys, I hope this was helpful today. The next video I'll be dropping will be some more factorization, and then I'll latch on to a bit of factorization with the highest common factor in the bracket. So we'll be taking out the bracket. Okay, until next time, guys.